Hi. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. Welcome to RAWtalk episode. If I counted correctly, it's 248. We just had to look at the old one to make sure that we were at 248, being that we should a couple months of not doing a show in the summer.
We are back.
Some people
Officially
are back. Steven's over here. Steven.
Hello.
Give Dan enough time to put up his upper thirds, lower rights. Todd? Woo! Now with a new and improved air horn. And Dan.
Danielson is switching for us over there.
There's
he
Dan.
is. There's a nice little behind the
Now
scenes
with 58% more gray hairs, as I've heard, since he had a kid.
Boom.
He still doesn't have a mic, and we're back
Thank
on
God.
me. Welcome back.
Yes.
This is
Hot.
Do you like my yellow jacket?
Ooh, I love it.
So you
Nikon
guys can't,
yellow,
you
huh?
can't really see what's on it, but this is
Zorro.
a Nikon Z jacket.
Oh.
Todd doesn't have a jacket. He wasn't
don't need a
getting paid. He wasn't getting paid
Nope.
enough.
Nope.
Does anybody know how I ended up with a yellow one?
They paid you lots of money.
No.
They paid you more money than Sony pays
Because
you,
you
right?
want to stand
I
out
think
so
that's
everybody looks at
what
you?
happened.
I didn't get this until the end of the day. First thing I did was walk in, and all the security people are wearing yellow jackets.
Yes.
I'm
That's
like, I
weird.
want a yellow
Nikon event?
jacket. We didn't know that we were going to get jackets at the end of the day. Then when I made a deal with the guy right off the rip.
What'd you trade?
I'm not going to tell you.
What's the deal?
His name
Disclose
was
the deal.
James.
Oh, hey, James.
The two of
What's
you look
up?
like the two of you look like you take IDs outside the club.
Dude, that's what I said. It looks like NES security. I got to freaking take this off. This is way too hot.
What are you hot, Steven?
Way too hot.
He's
sweating like
super
crazy.
hot right
So
now.
I worked out a deal where I was like, can you hold down the ruffling noise?
Is that good? Jared's like, I'm going to wear this all the time. I'm like, that's going to be terrible.
No, I'm going to wear
for
this
audio.
to the Sony trips.
I mean, you may or may not have worn your D850 jacket to the Sony trips.
The May part is more about the correct part.
yes.
That's where I actually did. Here, I'll take. But it's nice. What
Dude,
I
you
like,
don't got your sweet Nikon armband on?
what Nikon armband?
What happened?
I cut it off. Why would I leave it on overnight?
It's a symbol of being cool, man.
Show off.
Come on, bro.
I didn't want to sleep
new
with another
wristband.
armband. I
It's
already
in.
have 15 of them on.
I got to cut this thing off.
No, so I asked the kid. I'm like, yo, I want that jacket, yo. That's exactly what I said, and I quote,
Again,
yo,
what
I
did you
want that
trade?
jacket, yo.
You
What
said
did
it
you
with the
trade?
yo.
And so he's like, I'll trade with you. I'm like, cool. He's like, I like your shirt. I'm like, I'll send you some shirts. Dan can attest that we shipped them out. I guess they shipped this morning. And then at the end of the day, I didn't get his jacket because Nikon found an extra one, and I'm special. I got a yellow one and a black one.
Look at me.
And-
Look at me. I'm wearing yellow.
That's why I can't wait to wear it out in public.
I wish you had the yellow jacket, your afro, and that pink scooter riding down the
and
street.
and that umbrella hat.
yes,
Oh,
the
the
new
umbrella.
umbrella.
The new umbrella?
you need that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, the new Brella would be a fantastic, unbelievable thing.
What you know what I think is funny though, the fact that we're coming back to talk about all this mirrorless stuff, and it seems like Steven's house is mirrorless as well with that hair that he came in with today.
You asshole.
Well, I don't get the joke.
I don't think he's seen a mirror himself
Oh.
in weeks.
Yeah, I'm growing. I mean, I'm not. I don't mean to grow out the hair,
Whoa!
but I got some hair. I got to get a haircut.
There's nothing wrong with your hair.
So I
It's very Huey
Yeah,
Lewis
leave
of
the
you.
hat off, man.
I missed a haircut like 4 months ago, and I was like, screw it. I really don't feel like getting a
I
haircut.
missed
I
it.
don't got to be on camera anymore for RAWtalk. I don't care.
You look like Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
So handsome.
And
You-
I'm trying. And also, my beard's been growing for about 4 months. It's obviously gotten really far.
That's happened
It's
since.
crazy how you end up not with a beard, but with mutton chops and a goatee.
I literally haven't really shaved this at all since I cut my hair, and that's how little this has grown compared to my hair.
And that's why we don't have a shaving partner anymore.
exactly.
Way to go, Steven.
Todd has a
Way to
beard.
go.
I
Way
haven't
to
freaking
go.
shaved in a minute. Dan is. I don't know what's wrong with Dan. Dan is the.
We don't have enough time for that.
That's true. And Steven has whatever he has. General update. We've got Nikon D850s
Yeah, we switched them
right
out.
now. We've switched out. Why? Because Nikon called and said, we want our D750s back that you've had for over 2 years.
Exactly.
Oh, and that D810 that you haven't sent back yet?
That overdue D810 and D750 that you've had for years and refused to give back.
No, they gave us permission to use them. So with the D850s, this is the first time we're using these. We are not shooting them in 4K, but we do have the ability to do them in 4K, streaming live to the internets if we ever decide to do that.
There's a part of me that wants to keep it, this works, just keep it as it is. But at the same time, I want to have 4K, but I'm a little nervous that box is going to fail on us.
We could test it when we get the Z camera, maybe do an unboxing live.
It's like 5 4K angles streaming live.
I feel like this
it's
box would crap to bed if you sent
that's
4K
what it's
signals
meant for. There's a HD 550 box, and then there's a 4K 550 box. We got the 4K version, so it's supposed to do that.
That's the one that we've got.
Yeah, we'll test it out one day.
So that's what we have, and yeah. Oh, I was at NASA.
Yes, you were.
I was at NASA.
That's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah, I guess spacewalk.
We're at which NASA?
In New Orleans.
Okay.
The Me Show.
Is that the main campus or whatever they want to call it?
There's Houston.
Yeah.
There's some place in Maryland or something. There's, of course, Cape Canaveral.
Cape Canaveral.
There's the Johnson Space Center out in California. Johnson?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, they build big rockets there. They erect big rockets, 5 pieces. They have a major vertical thing. Dan, can you explain what you're trying to do over there? Just so I understand what you're doing over there?
He's just pecking around back there.
On what? Okay.
That was quick.
All right, well, maybe it was a shitty battery in your D810. Well, I guess we're not looking at Dan's face.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Good. We don't need to see Dan's face anymore. Anyway.
Our plan works, Steven. Good job.
You're welcome. I put that 2% battery in.
So what's good at with the NASA thing was they put together a NASA social, a photo search social, where they put out a request for photographers to come and be selected, and they selected 12 people. 2 of them I knew, Elia Licardi and Mike Kelly.
Good people.
Which we didn't coordinate, and we got selected, and a bunch of other people got selected. And it's at our own expense because it's the government. They don't cover expenses for anything, even down to the cafeteria food.
Wow.
So we
I'm
covered
sure you
it
were
all.
happy about that. Cafeteria food.
It wasn't that. What I ended up making myself wasn't that bad.
Some sloppy joes.
No, I didn't. I would no. I never bought lunch at school. Did you ever buy lunch at school?
I didn't buy lunch until senior year.
Todd, did you buy lunch at school? Did they have lunch when you were a kid?
Yeah. I got reduced lunches because we was po.
Oh, you got reduced lunches?
I did. Yeah. At least when I was younger. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
The Great Depression.
Wait.
You got to watch
1930s.
left and right. You
Oh
can see
shit!
all about that.
Hold on. You said reduced lunches. I thought you meant you got less food because you were poor. What you meant is that you got.
That's why I was so skinny, because they only gave me half a slice of pizza on Friday.
I didn't realize what you. Now I get it. That's where my brain went. I made Todd
Yeah,
laugh.
all the rich people used to carry their lunch, pack their lunch.
I packed my lunch every day. I had the same thing from kindergarten through college.
High C.
You probably
Tasty
had it
cakes.
past college.
I had it
until,
past
4
college.
years ago.
Peanut butter sandwich on white bread, Stroman's.
Hell yes.
A little bag of Ruffles, Hers potato chips. Generally the ones that come in the red bag because I like the Ruffles better.
I like the Ruffles better too.
Some Snyder's of Hanover pretzels, 1 chocolate cupcake in a bag, and a High C, or throughout the years it was either started with Tang,
Carb
High
City,
C,
My Ecto Cooler.
or Hawaiian Punch.
Pure.
Yeah.
Nice, healthy.
What were my
lunch.
parents thinking?
You were a kid,
it's
man.
the 80s.
So if they gave you something healthy, you would not have been picky?
Oh.
I'm just saying, what were they thinking?
I'm sure that's exactly what you wanted.
We did eat apples. I drank a lot of apple juice as a kid.
Yeah.
That's
A lot.
Soda.
You drank apple juice up until,
Jesus.
what, 4 years ago?
I quit like five
You used to
years
have
ago.
gallons of apple
Gallons
juice.
of Mott's. Do you know what's funny? This
And
one
High C.
time, we used to get this red cheek apple juice. And oh, by the way, guys, we're talking quite a bit. We're flowing.
It's been a while.
We're doing it. We're catching up. I just want to let anybody know who's watching live. At the very, very end, after we sign off, we're doing a thing called overtime. We're not stealing that
That's
from...
original.
We're not stealing that
Totally
from...
original.
We'll call it RAWtalk Extra. Is that better?
Frovertime.
Frover? Like, is that like a
Frovertime.
rover? Rover time!
Exactly.
Sending the dogs!
Precisely.
We're going to stay on like an extra 15 minutes to answer your questions. So if you're listening to the audio at home, you can go watch the video to watch that, where we're going to get to the chat room and talk to that, so that Todd's staying focused on us, we're staying focused on this,
Yeah.
and we're good to go right about there. What was I talking about before I interrupted myself?
Apple juice.
Oh,
High
apple
C.
juice. Check this out. One day, I open up the apple juice. I take a drink. It was a drunk apple juice. It fermented.
Yes.
The apple juice fermented.
It was a cider.
I was like, and then that was it. That was the story.
Awesome story, bro.
Bad
So glad you told that.
I guess we're gonna. Are we ready to move on to the next part?
Yeah, why not?
All I'll say is Daily Fro. I've been doing it. I don't think I'll do them on Fridays if we're doing RAWtalk, unless I have something else to say, because I don't need to do another one. But I'm on episode 185. I've done, so this would be episode 186. When was this one made?
Oh man, this is.
Oh, it doesn't even have the numbers.
It doesn't even have numbers. Yeah.
It's so old.
I think it was. It says February 5th, 2018.
That's when I started. I now put the numbers there. So what you will see is when it's Daily Fro, it's Daily Fro episode number. You're going to see RAWtalk episode number, so you know which are which, and then you can just ignore listening to Daily Fros if you just like RAWtalk.
Definitely do that.
So
Yeah, I would
Definitely
do
do
that.
that. You never really finished talking about NASA though.
Oh, NASA.
We stopped at cafeteria food.
Oh yeah. So what I'm saying is, so NASA was cool going down there. It was an expense because you have to take it upon yourself to do that. But they gave us access to photograph at some amazing things.
Yeah.
Like going inside, seeing how the rockets
Not many
are
people
made.
have that access.
No. So what I will say is when they do another social, they're going to let me know, and I'll share that information out, and you should apply. Just understand that you will have to pay to get there. So if you're not local, it's going to cost you money to either fly there or drive there and stay there. That's because they're the government, and they say they don't have budget or they're not allowed to for whatever legal. They're NASA.
How did you find out about it?
I probably saw it on
Like
some website.
Petapixel or something?
It could have been Petapixel, F-Stop, or somewhere, because that's where Mike saw it.
How did they vet through all the everyone that applied?
Well, I think that because there were 12 people there might have been 12 entries.
Oh,
I think it said they were going to pick 10 and they picked 12. It's possible they didn't get a lot, but when you're in the stature of like Mike Kelly and he's got so many followers and stuff.
Mike Kelly is the man.
And
That Elia.
And Elia's awesome too.
Yeah,
So
they're awesome.
NASA was great. Hopefully they share some of my images. I'll let them do that, and we'll go from there.
Cool, man. Sounds like you had a good time.
What have you been up to? Anything?
Working all the time.
Really?
Yeah,
You went away for your birthday.
I did.
Somebody
Yeah.
gave you off.
Yeah, I went to Washington D.C. That was fun.
Did you know that
You
I
gave
got
me off one day.
Well,
Come on
I didn't
now.
choose to. Did you know that the call came in through a proxy, and it was like, Steven's girlfriend called and wanted to know if he could have off on this particular day. I'm like, no. Oh, sorry, Todd. What was I like?
Exactly.
No,
Because I always tell her, I'm like, it's so hard to get off a specific day because. Yeah, funny. Because we never know what we're doing until like that day or the week of. It's really hard to tell, and there's so many things that come down that like we're not aware of until the day of, or NDA stuff, or all that. So
well, you got off.
very last minute
I
events
hope.
all the time. Yes, I got off
Where'd you go?
of work.
Where'd you go?
Went to Washington D.C.
Was it fun?
It was a good time. I've never been. I've been to a lot of places. I've never been to Washington, D.C., so we did the monuments all day. I sweated like crazy. It was like 90 degrees and humid. That's weird. And then we went to just around the city.
Todd, get off your knees.
Oh, my God.
You're singing.
That's all I did.
Is this a royalty-free song?
Yes.
I hope so.
Pretty sure that's from Audio Blocks.
It's now called Storyblocks,
Exactly.
I think.
It is. But yeah, it was a great time.
Good.
Nicole
Fun.
surprised me,
Fun
and I'm
time.
glad she requested off for me.
I know. I needed like a lot of mental power.
I think I told you like 13 times that I was having off that specific day.
There was
even
a
up to
note.
like the day before.
There was a note.
But you would still ask me.
Yeah, I
When
don't
you
look
taking
at the
off?
note.
When? What was that? When again?
Reading.
And Todd, how about you? How you been?
Reading. Oh, good. We were at the Jersey Shore for Morgan's birthday.
Nice.
This past weekend.
What's yours?
GST?
Was what?
GST? Is that what they used to? I never saw an episode of that.
No, we went to Cape May for her birthday. It was her
GST.
13th birthday.
Yeah.
We're talking about tan
Tan.
laundry something.
Tan.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, GTL.
I never
Oh,
watched
I
the
was like,
show.
Oh, yeah,
GST.
you got to ask Steven. That's
It's
his people right
Jim
there.
Tan,
That's his
yeah.
people.
Dude, I love Jersey Shore. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Watched it at all.
Yeah.
I was
No.
working most of the time, though,
Yeah.
doing Morgan's little video.
Yeah, so there's that. Okay, cool. What else? Nothing?
That's
All right,
it.
Let's
roll.
move on.
Yeah.
Let's get into segment 3. Photo news.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get crazy to photo news this week because I think the big discussion is obviously the mirrorless cameras.
Well, that's what we put in the title. I put in the title, all things Nikon mirrorless versus Sony. Is Nikon crazy? And we're going to talk about all of that stuff because we got hands-on with it. And what are you looking for?
Oh, it's just going crazy. This was saying it was charging for a second, this iPad.
Oh,
That's
okay.
weird.
That's weird.
I mean, is that what happens when it sits around for a couple months?
I guess so, yeah. It hasn't been turned on in like 4 months. Anyway, I keep a couple of huge announcements this week. Obviously, we've got the new mirrorless system from not Canon yet.
Oh,
from
Steven.
Nikon.
Oh.
DJI
NDA.
unveiled 2 new drones, the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom drones. Now, the main difference here being that the Mavic 2 Pro has a brand new
Hasselblad?
Excuse me?
camera.
What?
One more time?
With
Did you
a
spend
20
too much
megapixel
time with the people at Nikon the
It's
other
been a while
day?
since I did news. A 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor with a f2.8 to 11 aperture. And this marks a huge step up from the original Mavics. I don't know how to really say this. 0.5 inch, 1 by 2.3 inch sensor.
What are you talking about?
The size of the sensor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
New Pro video features include 10-bit D-Log M recording along with 10-bit HDR video. And the big selling point here for the Mavic 2 Zoom is that it obviously zooms optically. Now, the payload featured a 24 to 48 millimeter optical zoom lens with the smaller half-inch 0.3 12 megapixel sensor. Now, the new zoom lens, it can do 4 times lossless zooms in 1080p along with dolly zooms.
4
Like that whole Hitchcock vertigo effect, which is
That
really
dolly
cool.
zoom thing looked so weird.
So a lot of people would mimic that in post. It was easily mimicked with doing 4K recording. You could do that.
That's
but now
tough
it's
to do
actually
in post, though.
What was
That's tough
that?
to do. That's actually tough to do in post.
It's
to
not
actually
that
have
tough.
it be accurate in terms of,
It doesn't look as good, I'll tell
No,
you that for
no.
sure. So it also has a new super resolution mode that combines 9 photos, stitching them together to create a 48 megapixel image.
Oh my God.
And both drones will share similar specs besides that, including 4K capture at 100 megabits per second with 8 gigs of built-in storage, which I do love because I feel like I always forget those micro SD cards.
Wait, why don't they just add a second slot? That's
Who needs that?
That's a
Nobody
Nikon
needs
joke.
that.
I know.
That was a good joke.
Max flight time has been upgraded to 31 minutes of flight time with a top speed of 44 miles an hour. They now come equipped with 360-degree obstacle avoidance with 10 built-in sensors around the drone. And the new Mavics now have hyperlapse modes as well. And the Mavic 2 Pro will come with a price tag of $1,449.
Wait, what? It used to be $1,299.
Yeah, $1,449 for the Mavic 2 Pro version.
What's that in Canadian?
And then $1,249 for the Mavic 2 Zoom.
It's $399.
So you got to pay a little more to get that 1-inch sensor.
Well, I mean, we love the 1-inch sensor in those cameras.
So I've always personally wanted to use the Phantom 4 Pro, which has that 1-inch sensor, but for some reason our drone is a little messed up where like the horizon
aren't
line
we all?
is always off. It's never perfectly straight. So we usually use the Mavic Pro because it just simply oh my god.
Don't let that one go.
Sorry, my bad.
Because it's just simple. It just flies. It works all the time. There's no issues most of the time. But now with this 1-inch sensor, I feel like this is the perfect package.
For now.
Yeah.
Like my whole thing with all new gear at this point is I'm kind of tired. It harkens back to Apple. This is our best iPhone yet.
Ever.
Well, no
Yeah.
shit.
Yep.
It's your best iPhone yet. So next month or next year in October, it's going to be your best iPhone yet. It's just like it's annoying.
Now, obviously, I wish they combined the zoom with that 1-inch sensor, but I guess they're splitting this line up into 2 now.
I don't think you need the zoom as much as the just move it closer.
Well, the question is, do I want more compression and depth of field with that zoom option, and do I want to
Exactly.
be able to do the vertigo
That's
effect?
what I saw in the video.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
what they bragged about. I think I like the zoom better than
I mean,
It's
the bigger
tough
sensor
because
makes sense, but
I will say the Mavic Pro, I personally despise the quality out of that drone. I think the 1-inch sensor just crushes it. So I kind of want to go with the 1-inch sensor, but it's really hard to say.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just over the whole gear. Well, we're not over the whole gear thing, but the gear update thing. Like, this is the greatest drone ever. This is the best drone. This is going to be the greatest drone. It's changed this. It's because it's like, cool, it's going to be upgraded. Because I think the drone age is done.
Yeah.
I think the people that really got excited for it tried to do it, and then what do you do with it now? It's a drone shot, so what are you reinventing? Because, I mean, DJI has done a great job of constantly putting these things out, but how are people using them any different than just getting some of those top-down shots or just a couple of flyovers?
Well, I will say the new hyperlapse mode is really cool to have basically a time lapse in air moving, which I still don't understand how they can do that.
I don't really understand that either because you still only have, 30-minute flight time. So it's not like you're doing like a hyperlapse.
Oh, yeah. I think they're
over
going to
the
be very
course of
short
overnight.
bursts.
Like you're not doing dawn to dusk.
Yep. I think they're going to be very
So-
short burst hyperlapse modes. And then same with the super resolution mode. Like, how can a drone stay that still to stitch it perfectly in camera? That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, we'll try it out if they give us one.
Do you remember when we used to use the Phantom 2?
The egg one?
Oh, my God. How bad that was?
It's not even here. Where is that? I sold that to Sutter?
I don't remember.
No, I didn't sell that to Sutter.
I don't think you sold it. I think it's at your house. It's just like sitting on
the
the
egg,
shelf.
the one with the egg.
Oh, it's a piece of crap.
I remember the
It was
first
one of the first videos I filmed with you.
the dangerous video. So the second time I flew that down at Penn Treaty Park, I couldn't find it when it was flying.
Is that when it went across the Delaware River?
I'm like, I don't see it. It was also 30-mile-per-hour winds, and the GPS in that thing was not
And
any good back
that's
then.
the thing. Then I think it was on like 20-mile-an-hour top speed, so it can't fight the 30-mile-an-hour
Well,
winds.
so I couldn't see it, couldn't hear it. I don't see very well anyway. Then I look at the screen, and I tilt it down because I wanted to get some orientation, and I'm like,
There's a person.
no, it's water. I'm like, I'm over the water. And so what I did is then found the city and then just toggle sticked all the way to the right until it came back. And then I landed it real fast. And I'm like, I'm out of here.
Well, and the worst
Yeah,
is
it's
when you
scary.
don't know which direction you're in. You're trying to, toggle the right direction, and you're going the wrong way or the opposite way.
and
Yeah.
over the Delaware is
Backwards.
technically a flight path for Philadelphia International Airport.
I actually think that whole park is technically a flight path.
Yeah, so I don't think you're
definitely
allowed to touch
5
it.
miles within that airport. But at the time, those laws didn't apply.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure because
Yeah.
that was one of the first drones, first consumer drones.
Yes. So anyway, that's drone talk for that part.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into the major part?
Well, there's one little major part.
Oh, I missed this?
That XQD card. Do we want to talk about that right now, or do we
Oh,
want to get
go for it, and I'll
So,
see if I got an update.
on top of that mirrorless announcement that we're going to be talking about in a little bit? A new web page that looks like an official Nikon website. Not really sure. Featuring a Nikon-branded XQD card, shows that Nikon is pretty much jumping into the XQD game.
Yeah, I have no verification of this because I sat and asked both Nikon PR people last night about this, and they specified that they think it's fake news, and they're looking into it right now, and I do not have official report back to them whether this is real or not real.
So let's take it as a rumor for now.
yeah, well,
possibly.
what I find weird is
fake
120
news.
gigs,
Yeah.
not 128
It is odd.
gigs.
Yeah.
Though the Belkin cards came out at 120 gigs,
Yeah.
which leads me to believe if this is real, that it's a Delkin card slapped on with a Nikon sticker.
So you don't think Nikon would get into
No.
the actual manufacturing
No.
of XQD cards?
No, I don't think they would go into a whole business of manufacturing XQD cards.
What was ironic yesterday is when they were letting us shoot with
Do
the
you
new
think?
Z7, and we had Sony XQD cards.
Yeah, that's because Sony, they pay Sony for the technology.
So just like the other XQD cards on the
That
market,
looks
though,
mighty real to me, Steven.
you'll see the cards will come in write speeds of 400 megabytes a second and read speeds of 440. Again, just like every other card right now. Now, no official announcement, so take it with a grain of salt right now. The Japanese camera rumor site Nokashita reports the cards will come in 64 and 120 gig configurations and priced around $160 and $262 for the higher end.
yeah, no idea what that means.
And they're saying it's going to drop in late September, same time as the cameras, right around when the Z7 is officially released.
Well, it's always good when you talk to Nikon PR and they don't have a clue about what's going on, if that's real or not. Because imagine if it is. Imagine if it is real and they just weren't told or somebody dropped the ball. And now I'm going to get a phone call about me talking poorly, and they're going to cut our funding so we can no
we
longer...
won't get more jackets, man.
No. Don't tell them about all the money they give us.
They did give us a pretty sweet prize package yesterday.
How much is it worth?
I did get this little cool thing. Got a shirt.
Water
I mean, they
bottle.
paid a lot of money for this shirt to give me.
That is a nice shirt. What size did you get?
Extra medium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, they don't actually pay us. That is one of those things that we
Clearly a
keep
joke.
hearing.
Every Sony video we put out, you're paid by Sony.
Oh,
Every
actually,
Nikon
sorry.
video,
Even in
you're
the
paid by
Fuji,
Nikon.
even in the Fuji video paid out, you're clearly paid by Sony to
shills.
make these videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Now it's like we make a Nikon video. You're paid by Nikon. That'd be awesome.
It's every video
Dude,
we
it
make.
would be awesome. It'd
If
be like,
we
yeah.
praise the camera company or the camera or whatever, the lens, we're suddenly shills for that company.
They're paying us.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're one of these companies out there and you'd like to pay us, you can call me. We'll discuss it, and we'll see how much you're paying, because the more you pay, the more likely you are to get a tremendous review. That's how we ended up with a great review of the Fuji, is they paid us a lot of money. Exactly. Where's the crickets? There they are. I was waiting for the great. Somebody's slow on the. Where is this? I usually have this on Quick Drive, or anyway. Go ahead.
That's it for photo news. I mean, we'll get into the camera announcement. Do we want to get into gear of the week?
Yeah, I'll
first?
do gears of the week real
quick.
fast.
Get that out of the way, and then we'll get into the big discussion.
This week's gear of the week is brought to you by
Nikon.
Shilling.
Yes.
If you want to see a channel that just gets paid to do shit,
watch our channel.
that's us. Anyway, this is the Rode VideoMic MEL, the thing that we knew that we needed for a long time. What makes this different from the Video Rode Mic Me is the fact that this one actually works for your iPhones currently.
For the new iPhone.
The iPhone, anything with a lightning adapter. And I
Because
tested
for some
it out.
ungodly reason, they took out that mic jack.
I tested it out.
Yeah,
and
headphone port.
It's good. It's great for live broadcasts. Because
You used to
it's
always
clear.
live stream with your iPhone.
I used to.
All the time.
I have not live streamed on
You haven't
anything
done a
for a long
Facebook
time.
live stream in forever.
What's Facebook, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. So I haven't done this. By the way, you can go check out the My Road Reel competition that ended. The submission dates are over, but you can go vote on the ones that you like. You can go to bit.ly/road18vote. I came up with that bit.ly myself. It's
So smart.
road18vote.
So original.
Yeah.
So original.
I just wanted to come up with something good. And so that's what we got. So you can try this out, put it in
People
your
don't
phone.
like to vote though, so I don't. It's probably not going to work.
You don't. Oh, I got your subtle joke there, Todd. It took me a quick second to get it.
I know it's been a minute.
It's usually about 30% of the people. So that's one. Steven, you're looking at me all weird.
No, I'm good.
That's just his hair.
He just wants this yellow jacket behind me.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wishes he could have a yellow jacket like this. And also, we got these in the mail while we were away, and by away I mean not doing shows. This is the ProGrade Digital Generation 2. Well, not Generation 2. It says USB 3.1 Generation 2.
Gen 2.0.
Which means
USB 3.1.
that means
Gen 2.0.
that's USB-C. This is a dual card reader. So this is an SD card reader and a CFast. They do not have XQD, unfortunately. They don't make that, but they will
That's
be
all they
making
make right now, currently.
CF Express, which is the future
XQD
of fast
form
cards.
factor, yeah.
So this thing is USB-C. So if you shoot a lot of video, this thing is blazing fast when you plug it into my new MacBook Pro.
We used it yesterday when
Yeah.
we were shooting the mirrorless.
Feel the weight on
event.
this.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
girthy.
it's a little heavier than the Lexar ones.
So you got that, but if you don't have USB-C just yet, it does come with a one that lets you go USB 3.0 to your computer. They're also doing a sale right now. Go to ProGradeDigital.com. You can get 10% off of anything, well, your entire order. Use the code FRO10. FRO10 at ProGrade if you need to pick up some super fast V90 SD cards or one of these super sweet CFast cards or CFast readers. Go and do that. Steven?
I think it's time.
It's time to have the big discussion.
The big discussion.
All right, do you want to start the big discussion, or would you like me to start it?
You can start it.
You want me to start it?
Yeah,
So if
'cause I
you've
have zero
been living
notes.
under a rock in the photo community, you wouldn't know, Todd, speaking of you, wouldn't know that Nikon came out with a new camera system. The Nikon Z
An
system.
entire new mount, entire new system.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so we
Big
went
leap.
ahead and did our preview video. So if you haven't checked out the preview video, that's over on the site or on the YouTube feed. And also yesterday we put up the hands-on stuff to talk about. But we're not going to go through all the specs. You can see me using it right here. Oh God, this is my favorite part, by the way.
That we can record the
fact
EVF.
that you can record the EVF.
A dirty out, so it shows all the settings.
Talk about being able to teach in future
It's great.
videos. You'll be able to
You see all the settings, all the modes you were in.
so
everything.
good. That part's awesome.
Makes me want to watch Cocktail.
Oh, I didn't know where that was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so photograph. Anyway, let's go into some of the things we like, some of the things we don't like, starting with the one card discussion.
Yes.
I hammered this really hard in the preview video, like super hard, like I really hammered it 20 times.
Oh, hey.
And so I gave it a lot. I gave Nikon a bunch of shit for this, as
I
they
don't blame
deserve.
you. I think most people feel the same way.
They deserve a lot of shit for building a camera from scratch, getting so many things right, and failing to put in a second card. And the reasoning? Size. Like I get you. I get your reasoning for that shit, but come up with a solution for it as a
I still think it looks like there's enough room.
not underneath it.
Not underneath it?
No. There's this much room underneath it and there's this much room up top. So it leaves only this much. There's not enough room on the side. It's close is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Sure.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
So like I said in the video yesterday, if this is a deal breaker for you and you can't handle it, then go do something else. Go get something else. Because you can complain. I could keep complaining about it, but it is what it is right now. And maybe they'll listen and they'll change it in the future. And maybe in a Z8 or whatever the sports model.
Well,
Yeah, there. See, Steven, see how much less space there is on the bottom?
Yeah, but I wonder, is this the card right here? Like, wouldn't another card...
Yeah, but look at the size of the door. It's got to be something
Well, obviously
similar.
the door would be one big door.
What if they were just side by
You're
side?
a door.
Yeah, or side by side, like
Yeah.
Todd just said. I mean, I still feel like there's enough room physically to put something there. I don't know if obviously there's got to be a reason for electronics and all that.
Yeah, I mean, they built it from scratch, so they didn't. Hopefully, they realized that.
I just thought they would have learned from the D7500 issue where they went from 2 cards to 1 slot and everyone freaked out about that. And that's not even a professional camera.
Yeah, but here's the thing. One of the things they try to tell you is like, oh, how many times has a card failed on you? I don't give a shit how many
It's
times a
the
card has
one
failed on me.
Just needs to happen
One
once.
time.
One
Yep.
time.
One time.
Yep.
One time. Sorry.
Thank you, Lifestyles of...
Wyclef.
uh,
One time.
yeah, I was trying to think of what's her name? Misadventures of
Lauren Hill.
Lauren Hill.
Miseducation.
Yeah, Misadventures of Lauren Hill with pencils. I got it. I'm well up.
I'm hip.
I'm on that square. Anyway, so that's the card thing. It's stupid. It's annoying.
Although
it's frustrating.
I do love the fact that they put an XQD card in there because it's blazing fast.
Oh, and one of the other things is why wouldn't it have an XQD and an SD? Because the SD slot would slow it down in comparison to how the XQD card works.
That's essentially what my 5D Mark IV does. Is I have an SD UHS-1 slot and a CF slot.
And what is CF? What is this,
Exactly.
1996?
Compact flash, yeah.
Is this 96, Steven?
Yeah, well, I've got about 20 CF cards, so I'm a little invested in that form factor at this
It
point.
doesn't mean shit.
But anyway.
ProGrade will send you some SD cards,
I
Steven.
rarely use the SD slot for redundant recording.
Well, you're crazy.
Because it slows down so much. It depends what I'm shooting. If it's a slow-paced event, I'll do dual redundancy. If it's a concert, I'm just doing one card because it's just too slow.
That's crazy.
If I do two.
Crazy, Steven.
Well, I don't have a $6,000 D5.
Living on the edge.
I don't need a 6. I could use a D500 for God's sake.
Yeah.
Aren't there 2 XQD slots in the D500?
I don't remember. I
What
think
has
so.
dual D? I don't even remember. It's been a while since I've used that. Where is that camera? Is
I
that
think
on
it's
Todd's
XQD and SD, but I
Really?
really don't remember. I thought it's like the D850.
I could pull that up if I had my computer.
yeah, it's actually
Wait,
Todd's angle that we're shooting with right now.
Really?
That's a D500.
I thought one of the cameras had 2, other than my D5.
I don't recall. It's been so long.
Anyway, so we're going to put the card thing to rest. It's kind of stupid and annoying and frustrating that it is that way.
Well, I think you made a good point in the preview video that, you know, if you're someone that is really concerned about the card slot, this camera's obviously not for you, but if you can get over that, then you can buy this
If you
camera.
get over it, but just know that there is always that possibility.
To call it a professional camera with only one card slot is very hard to do this day and age.
In this day and age, yes, good you said that, because in the original day and age,
Yes.
it was all
That's
one
all you
card
had.
slot. My D2H was one CF card.
You had one roll
You
of
had
film.
one roll
There
of
wasn't
film.
a
Exactly.
There wasn't a backup there.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
So you have that. So let's talk about the Z system, the mount. The mount itself, the
Huge.
actual opening is 55
55.
millimeters. It would be able to deliver a baby very quick because it's
Wide
dilated.
hips, really wide hips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
So
wide hips.
They had the chance to reinvent their system because the Nikon F mount has been around since the 60s, or is it the late 50s? Somewhere. It's like
They never
60
switched
years.
like Canon did.
And they didn't switch to allow for a larger mount, which is what Canon did. The flange distance, which I'm finally understanding, is 16 millimeter, which is the distance between the lens, the back of the lens, and the sensor.
Exactly.
The closer it is to the sensor, the better the optics are going to be. So they're trying to tell us that edge-to-edge sharpness is going to be far superior in the native Z lenses than in. What are you doing, Todd?
I was measuring.
What are you measuring?
What you're talking about. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm following along.
You're just making a box.
I was doing Z-mount.
Oh.
No, I wasn't doing that actually.
So this part's nice, but then some people complain, well, what about my Nikon? Will I be able to put my F mount glass on it?
Well, yeah, if you have $10,000, even $1,000 worth of glass, I mean, that's a lot of money.
I was going to say a joke, but then it would come across as wrong, so I'm not going to.
That's
It's
weird.
always a joke with you.
I can't imagine
Never
you'd do
be
that.
serious.
Well, I've grown in leaps and bounds, and I no longer just spout out just stuff that could be perceived wrong
During a live show.
during a live
That's
show.
good. We used to have that luxury of cutting out things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
We
we
could say whatever. I
Maybe
used to
one
have
day
them
we'll
cut
have
out
sponsors
so
again.
much.
Well, speaking of, in the last Photo News Fix,
What?
we let that stuff slide.
What? What are you talking about?
It was funny.
Please explain.
Bill Murray. No. So the big question was, will you be able to adapt your your F-mount glass onto this body? And the answer is absolutely yes.
Yes.
They have an adapter. This is the Z adapter
The
that allows you...
FTZ.
FTZ?
F2Z.
No. Try again.
FTZ, but I assume it means F2Z mount.
You really think the T means two?
I really do.
You do.
Yes. What do you think it means?
I don't know, guys. Leave some comments. Do you think the F... What's this? T?
You don't think FTZ means F2Z mount?
Hey, Alexa, what does the T mean in FTZ? I don't think she knows. Exactly. She's not sure about
She's
that.
not sure. If she doesn't know, nobody knows.
We'll look it up, but I don't know. FTZ. Maybe, Steven. I never thought of it that way.
I thought it was pretty obvious, but
No, it wasn't. It was not. So
if you're not a moron.
So a lot of the concerns that people have is whether or not the adapter is good. Will you lose functionality, like when you can adapt lenses to Sony? Will your lenses then be dumbed down and not work as well? And the answer is no, absolutely not.
yeah, we got to play with them yesterday.
The adapter works seamlessly. You don't have light loss. You don't have any loss. You have full functionality of, they said 360 lenses can adapt to it and work.
Yeah,
with-
Todd, if you want to run that one clip with all of the lenses on the table, that's basically showcasing how many lenses can.
Well,
there you
that's-
go.
Got you.
That's only a fraction.
No, that's just the good glass.
Is
So-
there a mount on that adapter on the bottom? Like, is there threads at the bottom that you can mount that adapter?
I don't think it had a.
I don't think it
quarter
did either.
thread on it.
Really?
It just had something to rest your hand, really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
But I don't remember. Yeah, that's the end of that clip.
Yeah, well, that looks cool. You can leave me up there. Looks sexy.
Ooh, hey.
So
Nope, getting gone.
anyway, it works. There's no motors in the in that thing at all. So 90 AFS lenses work seamlessly. You have
Full
VR,
autofocus, full
yeah,
everything.
and it worked perfectly. You put the 14 to 24 on there. You put the 105 1.4 on there. You put any lens on there. It's working right off the rip, and that is the major win right there. Because you can take all the lenses that you own. I own a lot of lenses. They can all adapt to the Z system. And as they come out with new lenses in the future, you may replace, and we'll get to the roadmap soon, but you can replace all those lenses if you so want to.
Yeah.
But you can do it without loss of quality. Also, if you have non-VR lenses and you adapt it now has some form of in-camera stabilization because of the IBIS built into the body.
I think they said it would have three axis.
3-axis, whatever
Yeah.
the hell that means.
Roll, pitch. I don't think it would have. I forget which other one it didn't have.
I don't even know what it
Yeah.
means, but it has it, which is better than not. So that's a bonus.
And the native lenses will have full 5-axis, and then VR lenses will have full 5-axis as well.
Yeah. So your stuff works.
How much does that adapter go for? Did they give
Oh,
a price?
So, good question, Todd.
Good.
Thank you.
It's $250
Holy!
if you buy it by
If.
itself. But if you buy it at the time of purchasing the camera, it's $149, which means you save $100. So
Do
you
they
need
Do
it.
they sell it as a package?
Yeah,
I'd be surprised.
I think
if
they
they
just
didn't.
give you. I think they just hand it to you, and then it's a rebate.
Oh.
I still think they should have.
They should have included it, but that's how they got the price of the camera, the Z7, down to $33.99.
Now
instead of-
their Z7 also. If you get the new native 24-70 f4S lens,
S stands for shitty.
S stands for silver actually.
Oh,
favorite.
I thought it was shitty
Oh.
after I used it.
and
Wait, hold on. Phone call. It's Nikon. We want all our money back. You just said our lenses were shitty.
and that yellow jacket.
I like my yellow jacket. I'm keeping it.
But it's selling for $4,000 as the kit lens with that 24-70, but $3,400 as the body only. So they are even taking a hit on selling it as a kit because the 24-70 for $600 is not bad as part of a kit lens.
It's a $1,000 lens.
Separately, it's $1,000. Correct.
So you want to go in? You want me to talk about lenses now?
Sure. Native
Because
lenses.
they're launching with lenses Well, two of the three lenses are going to be out for September 27th. Yep. That's the 35 1.8, which we got a chance to use. That is also the 24-70 f4. S stands for.
Now I think they went for 24-70 f4,
Sexy.
not a 2.8, because that's also what Canon does. Sony does that with their A7 lineup.
You're
it's
launching,
kind of a standard.
You launch two. So what Nikon did is they launched two cameras. One will be out later, the Z6. That's the 24 megapixel. The Z7 is the 46 point whatever 75 megapixel.
I forget.
45.7.
Something like that.
It's a high megapixel camera, and you release shitty lenses to begin with. You make a whole big deal out of the fact that your mount is so wide and it lets in a lot of light.
Hey-o.
It's a gaping hole that lets in a
Hey-o.
lot of light. That you go ahead and you launch with a 1.8 lens.
Yeah, 45.7
an
megapixels.
f4 lens, and another 1.8 lens coming in November for the 50-1.8.
Did they explain why it's 1.8s and not 1.4s or 1.2s?
Stupidity. S stands for stupidity.
But did we ask them at all?
I asked. I don't know. They think
no response.
But what Nikon did was they pushed how great these lenses are. In the preview with the Tamerlaki using the 24-70 f4, she was like, "Look at the background. Even when there's close to the wall, it still blows out. It's so sharp, edge to edge." I'm like, "It's an f4." When I tried using the f4 to photograph the guy making cocktails, I'm like, "This sucks." Because
I think he
feels
just had
like
a white background too.
Well, it just feels like a shitty lens.
Yeah,
it's
well,
fine.
So let's talk about ergonomics and just overall feeling of that lens, because I feel like it's very similar to the Canon M series lineup, where it just feels plasticky. It feels a little cheap. Where the Gold line, the G series f-mount lenses, they feel professional. Yeah, I hate to say heavy, but they do feel heavy.
Substantial would be the word.
Substantial
S for
is-
substantial.
Yeah.
Instead of shitty. But yeah,
But they just feel like they're worth, that $2,000
the price
tag.
of gold, yeah.
The price of
Not
gold.
silver. It's
Exactly.
even better. Silver to me means like lower.
Obviously, silver comes before gold, and why does that mean that these are lower end than the G series lenses? Is there going to be a G series Z mount lens?
All they said is that S was like their higher end. They would equate it to the G Master. They didn't say that's not a quote.
Or the L series
but
of Canon.
yeah, but it there's no way in hell it is, because a 1.8 lens, after you just told us about the gaping hole of light, is not the right lenses to launch with. And then they announced the development of the 58mm f.95 Noct, which, that's correct, is a manual focus lens only.
So Sony, you can adapt lenses. You could adapt a 0.95 lens, and it will give you manual focus, if you like the Nikon or something like that. So it's not like they're really gaining an advantage
Did you just say Minotaur?
if you're using the Nikon Z mount system.
Well, you don't know if that lens
if it
is
was
going to
an
be super sharp.
autofocus 0.95 lens, now that's a different story, but
I'm just not
there's
happy.
not that much of an advantage.
I'm not happy at all with the launch lenses. I told them that yesterday. I just don't like the choice of that. And then even when you go through the roadmap right here, so those are the three lenses in green, and then in red in 2019 you've got the Nikon 58 Noct Deluxe. You got a 20mm f1.8, another shitty lens, an 85 1.8, another shitty choice. You've got not a shitty choice by the way of it's a great lens.
So when I think of 1.8, I
millimeters.
think of more of a consumer lens.
I think of a consumer lens.
Yep.
Why isn't it a 1.4? Why isn't it a 1.2?
Yeah,
Then
agreed.
you've got a 24-70 2.8. Okay, that's going to be awesome because that's, awesome. You've got a 70-200 2.8. That's going to be your Hebrew Trinity lens. And as I said to them yesterday, please reverse the rings back to where they were.
Did they say anything?
They said they'd pass it along to Japan. And they also said, and don't quote me on this from Nikon, at somebody at Nikon, they didn't tell me this on the record or anything. They're just like, we heard a lot of people talk about they don't like it. I'm like, oh, what happened to a lot of people did like this?
When we first got told about that lens,
Like,
they
a
were
lot of
like,
people
oh, a lot of
requested
people
it.
requested it. What?
All right.
And
then,
notice, keep in mind, every one of these lenses says S-line.
Right.
So they're all going to be branded S.
Shit line.
The shit line.
And then Nikon's gonna love me for this
Slime.
one.
Oh,
they
man.
told us that you did a great job with the video yesterday with your editing. That we nailed it.
Thank God, yeah.
And now,
Nailed it.
Now we're
Now
going
we're
the
right back to
opposite
zero.
direction.
Thanks.
I just have to. So Steven, here.
It's the Steven line.
Dan, mute this. I need to talk
The
to everybody.
Steven line.
So hold on. Dan's muting this.
Okay.
So what I'm doing right now is just I want to make it seem like
Yeah.
I'm not really into Nikon so much.
But really, you're a fan.
But really, they pay us so much money to talk about this stuff that if we don't,
Don't let them take your jacket back.
No, it's not the jacket. It's actually what's in this box.
Oh, is that the money box?
Shh. If they drop this off today,
What's
and-
that, like $2 million?
dude?
Or is that the 3 mil
Do
delivery?
you want to take this back? Do you want to give this back to them?
Okay.
So
this
we're not
isn't
giving
live,
this
right?
back.
We're not live. We can cut this out?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. So I just don't want them to know, and so they
Is there
keep
another
paying-
jacket in there?
No, but there's a razor for your face.
Thank God.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
All right, good. Dan, you didn't. That wasn't live, right? We're good. Okay.
Yep,
So
we gave you
anyway,
a thumbs up.
14 to 30 f4. They talk about is going to be a great. No, another.
14 to 30 is a
Right.
nice range.
But Steven,
on the wide end.
in a year and a half, okay, you don't see anything other than this Noct Deluxe, which is manual, which is crippled at the beginning. That's just like one of those. I'm rich. I'm a Leica user who wants to shoot Nikon, so I want this lens. That there's nothing on there that says 1.2 or 1.4. The only saving grace is I can adapt my other lenses that are 1.4s right to it, but it's not going to give me the same sharpness edge to edge.
So the one thing I do like about this S line,
Oh, you
Sline.
like something?
Slime.
Slime.
I do like that they said you can shoot these wide open and that they are meant to be the sharpest wide open at 1.8 or whatever it may be.
Because they said because of where the flange distance is, and
Yeah.
that will equal sharper.
Where most lenses are
images.
meant to be shot at, stop down to 5.6 or f4 or something like that for maximum sharpness. This is meant to be shot wide open. Again, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, until we use it, because they
Yeah.
up
They say a lot of things.
At least up until yesterday, they told us they were going to send us all the new lenses and the new body to play with to do our
Probably
review.
not anymore.
Maybe not now. Maybe not. Anyway, continuing on into 2020, and all these dates are tentative. They have a 51.2, and then a 24.18, which is stupid. Why are we doing all these primes?
People love primes.
And then I like primes too.
I was going to say you fell in love with primes over the past year or
I've
two.
always loved them. They just didn't fit into my shooting style for most things that I was shooting.
Yeah.
But the 24.14, 35.14, 50. I don't have that one.
For
80
fast-paced action, you obviously want a zoom lens,
right.
but
And then
primes are great.
finally a 14 to 24 2.8. Great. Like I want that to figure out my Hebrew Trinity, and then I'll be selling all the other shitty f-mount lenses.
So what makes
which aren't shitty?
the 0.95 a knocked lens?
I don't know anything
Is
about
it anything below a 1.0? Like
Steven.
that 1.2, shouldn't that be a knocked lens? Does that mean it's even sharper than a normal lens?
I don't know what NOC stands for.
I mean, I assume it means you can see at night or something like that. And 0.95.
Nocturnal.
Nocturnal.
That is actually, they had an old lens called the Nocturnal. So Todd, what do you think about this lineup?
Slimy.
For video. Let's say for video.
Oh, I guess that 24 to 70 you could use. That's
Todd,
f4, but
You still prefer zoom lens
No,
for
he
video, right?
prefers
I do.
18 to 105s.
I do like that. I like 18 to 135.
And if you want to see
18
that,
to 200.
if you want to
Perfect.
see that lens in its full glory, check out the Fronos Photo Guide to Getting Out of Auto.
There it is.
There. Oh,
You're welcome.
yeah. All of these videos mostly
Just the first one was on the a non-sline lens. It was the 18
Canon
to 135.
60D.
What did you do when he showed up with a kit lens?
I yelled at him.
And when
I
he
didn't
says
even
I
know.
yelled at him, he didn't say anything.
Oh, man.
I did.
He said, "What are you doing with that lens?" I was like, "That's what I got." He's like, "All
That's
right."
what I'm filming with, bro.
Little did I
Deal with
know,
it.
I'm dealing with a guy who just had a stroke.
Exactly.
But I think this is a decent amount of lenses for the next 3 years. Now, notice 2021 they didn't lay out yet.
Well, so it's a good 12 lenses coming in the next year and a half is nice.
Yeah.
Like that's good. I give them props for because what you have to remember is they're starting new.
Yes.
They're a 100-year-old company. They're reinventing the mount, and so that's going to give them some time to reinvent the mount as Todd sneaks out of the room to probably go take a leak.
I mean, he's old.
Yeah, it's prostate
he's
problems.
pretty old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey Dan, can you cut to Todd's angle real fast?
Crickets?
Hi guys.
I wish I had a soundboard right
Todd.
now.
Anyway, so
Todd, how do you feel about that? Cool. Okay.
They're reinventing the system, so it's not like in 2 years they're gonna have everything out. And the saving grace is that you have 100 million lenses out there in the world that have been sold that are f-mount lenses.
Yeah.
So there's that. Because a lot of people talked about, I want to jump ship to Sony. I'm going to jump ship. This was a terrible announcement. Really, it's not. If you own glass, you're kind of in a good place. And jumping to Sony doesn't mean that you're going to still have any good lenses. You've got the basic lenses that they've created, but you don't have a lot of the specialty lenses. And now you'd have to buy third-party Sigma stuff or Tamron stuff to work on there.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to say about the lens things. I'm not happy with that stuff at all. But I'm sure you want to hear about autofocus.
Yes.
That's me switching lenses.
This
Look
is
at
you actually adapting a third-party lens on.
Well, that's one thing nobody else did.
I'm shocked they didn't. I mean, you would think it would work normally because it would work normally on an F-mount system.
You would think,
and
but
it's
when I asked Nikon on the phone about that, they weren't very
F2Z
happy with me
adapter.
asking that.
Yeah.
They weren't very happy. But I thought about the day before, that we should bring a third-party lens, and I didn't have any here. So I called Brandon at Allen's, and he had one of the employees on the way home bring me one. I Venmo'd him $10. Boom. That's
so
a tip.
nice of you.
Yep,
Boom.
that was a tip.
Probably cost you more in gas to get here.
Nope, $10. So that we could try it out, and we tried it out. It was a 50 Sigma art lens, and it worked. And that's what people in the comments were like, I couldn't find this information anywhere, and we just showed it, and it did work.
Yeah.
So adapting the lenses works very well. I did let them know that with the 70-200, it felt odd to me, like I could feel the motors moving a specific way. I said that in the video, and they want me to try to replicate that, but I can't replicate that because I don't have anything with me. We don't have those cameras.
We don't have any, yeah.
But it was just different, and that's possibly the different way that the camera's going to focus.
This is you with the 70-200.
It's still giving this image. This image right here that it gets is so tack sharp on the eyeball. It's not even funny. It's so funny. It's not even funny. Because
funny.
it was super sharp, like S-line, because it wasn't an S-line lens.
The question is, though, will Sigma and Tamron, third-party manufacturers, will they make now native Z-mount lenses like they're starting to do with Sony's E-mount?
I think that's going to take much longer.
Oh, I think it will, too. But will they eventually get there? Will they now be making F-mount, EF-mount, E-mount, everything, Z-mount?
Yeah. This picture up here was done with the 14-24.
Yeah.
I had that on there. So the autofocus works very well. The quirks that I found is I have to get to know the new system. There's some different places where things are.
But it still felt like a Nikon.
Oh, as soon as I picked up the body, it felt like a Nikon.
Because what we try and do is we try and see if it just works. Like, if we can easily figure it out when we get the camera, does it feel like a Nikon without asking engineers? And then if there's an issue, that's when we'll ask our questions.
And maybe they have
But we want to
answers.
try and figure it out on our own, because that's what everyone opening this box up for the first time, getting their camera in the mail, they're going to have to figure it out on their own.
Well, actually, they're going to watch our video on how to set it up.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's how they learn.
Yeah.
A lot of people have learned that way.
Yeah.
So where was I going with that? Autofocus.
Yeah.
The autofocus was very good. They does not have IAF, which is, I don't know if that's because somebody has a patent, like Sony has a patent on the technology for that.
Well, but Canon has something called, what, pupil AF in their M50.
Yeah.
So I think it's just maybe I don't know, patent on the
Todd's
actual
probably
word.
never used that in his M50, though.
Yeah,
If
trademark.
people, yeah, that's just in photo though. It's not in video.
And it's not in video?
It's not in video, yeah.
Oh. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
And it's only in single focus. It's not in continuous focus, which the whole point of IAF in Sony is it's continuous focus.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, you could turn
Whirly
circles,
birds.
and it's still tracking that eye.
Yeah.
Now they do have face detection.
They have face detect, which I attempted to use right off the rip, and it was terrible.
Well, and we still were kind of finding out how to
Yeah,
use
I wasn't
it
hitting the
correctly.
right button, but initially when I was focusing, it was right until I hit the OK button, which then allowed me to lock onto something, which then it couldn't track the girl spinning around at all.
Yeah. So basically, they have AFC now and a new mode called AFF. Now, AFF is their new full-time auto mode, which will get you face detection automatically by default. And then when you press the OK button, you can track an object or simply tap the screen or something like that. And it works just like dual pixel AF on Canon, and it just tracks whatever object you're using. And it has a tracking mode, so you can adjust the sensitivity of how quick it tracks. So,
Right.
for example, we tried face detect in video mode for you, and it worked well, but you moved so fast it took a second to rack.
I wanted to make sure that I moved fast so that when we did test it, people weren't like, you
Move
didn't
too
test
slow,
this
and
right.
you're getting paid way too much from Nikon to move slow, and yeah. But now you can adjust that and make it a quicker acquiring focus for face detection. So
Yeah.
we didn't get to do that because I only had about 10 minutes
Is
to play
it,
with
is
it for
better
video.
than what autofocus was in old Nikon
Oh
DSLRs?
night and day, man. I will say. I mean, Todd, you would like it a lot because it's very similar to dual pixel. It's very intuitive. You simply touch the screen.
Did you see any like
Hunting?
searching?
I
at
didn't
all?
really see any searching
I did.
or hunting.
When I
thought
was shooting
saw it in your
stills.
video a little bit.
Okay.
When I was shooting stills,
Which mode are we talking about? Are we talking about single focus?
continuous focus.
Continuous
What I saw
focus.
in photos when I had the 35-1.8 on, it's fast because you see it move, you see it acquire, and then maybe shift this way or shift this way, but it's faster than the hunting that would be on a DSLR. So it's acquiring it fast, but on occasion I could see it go front, back focus, boom, boom, but then hit the right spot. But it's rapid.
Yeah.
It's fast. That has to be because of the Lin Manuel motors.
Yeah. I know from the video end, like Canon, that they've always gotten that right with dual pixel, where it cinematically racks and doesn't search and hunt. Sony's iffy.
Yeah, that doesn't seem similar to what the
face
Nikon
detection's
did.
a little bit weird, but Nikon's, again, we really didn't get to try it. I only had a few minutes with it, and we only had about, I don't know, 2.5 hours yesterday to actually shoot with it.
And then,
so it's hard to ask that many questions and actually use the camera.
Well, and then Steven spent a good 5 hours, 6 hours editing it as soon as we were done so that we could get it up there into the world.
Long day, man.
And out there, which it's one of the, it's a pretty thorough hands-on preview of a pre-production model that's not finished yet.
Which we didn't know we were
going
to have pre-production until we were there that day.
But usually with pre-production, they don't allow you to take the card.
That's what I thought was really odd.
So what I think it is that, of course, the body is done.
Yeah.
All of the hardware side of it's done. The one card slot, it's done. But the firmware, they're still tweaking the firmware for when it's released, and that's it. So I did shoot RAW plus JPEG, but I can't do anything with the RAW files. And I did that just because I want to have the RAWs, but also to shoot more realistically to how I like to shoot. Will I outrun the card and the buffer? When I filled the buffer after like a couple of seconds, took my finger off the shutter, pressed the shutter again, and it was cleared out again.
So you were shooting 14-bit uncompressed RAW plus large fine JPEG.
Right.
Which it looked like, if you can see your EVF, it says remaining 12,
Yes.
your buffer. So you would fill that up really quickly, and it would only take like a second to clear.
It wouldn't take very long to clear.
Where
Speaking
Sony
of a
takes
second,
while to
though,
clear.
The one thing I noticed is when I would go from the back screen to the EVF, it would take
and I can attest
just
to this too.
under a second for it to switch the viewfinder, which means I'm looking at a black viewfinder in EVF until it activates and turns on.
And when we're doing something like concert photography that we do a lot, that split second is a serious issue.
Or I could just then press the button on the side and just leave EVF on and not deal with the screen at all. Because what's great, again, for Todd with an EVF is that he knows nothing about his exposure triangle. All he has to do is make sure it looks good in the viewfinder and start taking pictures.
Huh?
What? He'll probably ride the ISO up to 12,800 instead.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was definitely slow. I mean, Sony's always been instant, never lag. And this one.
So that's one thing hopefully they can fix in the firmware. Another thing that I wasn't happy with was how slow the focusing points moved. I would sit there and I'd be like, it was just chugging along.
Because there's so many focusing points now that they really need to adjust the speed. Where before, a DSLR, it's probably the same speed. It's just now that there's so many to get from left to right side of the screen, you got to go through like 20 focusing points.
With the D-pad, I can quickly press it,
Yeah.
and the stuff moves fast.
Yeah.
Like quickly. Like here it was every time I hit it, I had to wait, hit it, wait, hit it, wait, and then it would move. And if I just held it in, it would just be like chunking
take its
along.
time. I wish they would also let you adjust the sensitivity for that as well.
Yeah.
If you want to move them really fast.
Yep.
And
I would prefer to do that and move them
me too.
fast.
I would
and
definitely
also I would
prefer
prefer that in the future they allow us, while it's up to our face, use the LCD panel, the bottom right-hand corner, like the M50 does.
And Sony, too.
And the Sonys to allow you to move the focus points because that moves fast.
And the XH1, but that was ridiculously slow using that touchpad.
Did you just say something
on the
negative
back.
about a Fuji, Steven?
Oh, God.
Oh,
How
shit.
dare you?
Yeah, here comes the comments.
They don't speak about Fuji, right? First rule of Fuji.
Well, I think a lot of people in that review also thought we were using just the touchpad, but we used the
I
joystick.
didn't use the touchpad at all.
I just thought it was obvious that we used the
It shouldn't
joystick. We just
certain things
mentioned
be
that
obvious.
it has touchpad functionality.
So when I talked about my nose just a second ago, with the Sonys, the viewfinder is literally almost even with the back of the camera,
Yeah.
which makes it hard to put up to against your face.
Especially your nose.
What's that supposed to mean? Could you imagine Jim Marshall's nose?
Oh, man.
His nose was so smushed and broken that it fit against anything at that point. But with the Nikon, it's schnoz-proof.
It's nice.
Because it sits out further, and it just feels comfortable the way that you look through it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice. The whole viewfinder itself, which is 3.6 million dots, it's equivalent to the A7R3 and the A9, was very high res. Did you have any issues shooting with it? Like, did you feel like you could, the 0.8 times magnification, you could see everything?
Oh, no.
There's no looking around to see the whole viewfinder.
One thing that was kind of interesting is when I hit the I button, the info button, I didn't say this in the video, was how the info button pops up in the viewfinder. It kind of was similar to the Oculus Go. You know how you have the menu system? I'm talking about the VR Oculus Go. It was almost like it was VR in front of me.
Yeah.
And it just popped out.
They said, at least with our one phone call we had with Nikon, they said that you can customize that I button, I think up to like 30 different presets or something like that.
No idea. We didn't get to sit down and really tweak anything while we were. I
It's
set
so
up the camera
hard
quickly
to try and get a full hands-on with that camera in like a 2-hour period.
So what I'll say is, if
not enough time.
anybody puts out a review in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's not a review because, one, it's not a final unit, and two, it can't be a review because it's not a final unit and at about 12 seconds to play with the camera.
Yeah.
So
That's why we had a hands-on preview.
we had a hands-on preview there.
Anyway, Todd, any questions from you about like video or any of that stuff with this
I
camera?
mean, the biggest thing to me with any of this video is always the autofocus now.
Autofocus.
Is because I don't know.
I mean, we tested it on Jared, and it seemed like it worked pretty well. Now, the one thing I wish I recorded, I was trying to record the actual EVF and the dirty out.
Why didn't it work?
Well, because we're in video mode and it's recording a clean out because it thinks you're recording to an external
So how
recorder.
do we turn off clean?
I don't know if I don't think it'll
if
let
it's
you.
in the camera. That's
Yeah.
right. That's where the HDMI clean out,
So it's the same with Sony. Like it's forced to pretty much give you a clean out,
which
if
is
you're-
what most people would want.
Of course, like it's very rare for someone like us. Like we want to record everything on the screen for teaching purposes. But so if I actually recorded it, you would see the box tracked on your face, on Jared's face, the entire time. You would do spins. You got out of frame, in frame, and it
Walking in
found
and
your
out of
face.
frame. He
walking
actually
in and
left
out.
frame.
And he spinned. He spinned, walked in and out, and it tracked the entire time.
It's like on a catwalk.
Now, again, I will say the focus was slow, but it hit every time once you would
What
pause.
lens were you using? The 18,
35,
the 35.
Now, but again, you can adjust that sensitivity. So I think in theory, it should be fine. I would just bump that speed up.
So our goal when that camera comes out or before it comes out is to, well, hopefully have one, a full-on unit that we can live with.
Yep.
With some slines.
Right. We were
Yeah.
told we were going to get the lenses. I mean, we may not now after I shit on the S line, but
Slime.
we've got to be truthful and unmerciful with all of this stuff because this is what we do. We use it.
What frame rates did
Oh,
it
good. I
offer?
wanted to talk
Yes.
about that. Oh, you
Good
want
call.
video frame rates or
Yeah.
shooting?
Video.
So video, it does 4K 30. Now, the one thing about this camera specifically is that the 4K 30 in full frame is not a full pixel 1-to-1 readout, where the DX crop mode, the 1.3x crop mode, Super 35 almost, is a 1-to-1 full pixel readout. So it's way sharper. There's no moiring. There's no skipping lines, nothing like that. So I couldn't tell that big of a difference, though, between full frame and DX, which is very similar to what the A7 III does. You really can't tell a difference, although you want to shoot in full frame on the A7 III for the best quality. Now, their Z6 camera is the opposite. It shoots best at full frame. So, again, 4K 30, Todd, and then it does 1080, 120 slow-mo. I still don't know if it crops in 120 or not in full HD. And I know I'm not a huge fan of the D850 120, where I just think the bit rate's really slow.
I
really
shot
low.
my Paris vlog with 120 with that.
I mean, it's usable for sure, but when you compare it to Sony's 120, I think Sony's is very sharp still. It doesn't look artifacty and weird. So yeah, we
nice.
still have to test it out, but I can already tell right away that the Z7 looked way sharper and better than the D850, and we use the D850 for everything, including right now in the studio locked off.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yep.
so +1 so far for Nikon. And
So
yeah.
the one thing I didn't mention that I thought I messed up, I didn't use the high plus mode, which is a new mode that Nikon has for shooting. It's how you can shoot the most frames per second. I was just in high.
And Sony also has a high plus mode.
Do they?
Too. Yeah.
So I was at 5.5 frames, basically 5.5 frames a second, 14-bit uncompressed RAW. In high plus mode, it's 9 frames a second and 12-bit compressed RAW. It's 8 frames a second and 14-bit uncompressed RAW, and it locks the exposure in on the first image. It
It's
continues to
A-lock,
autofocus, and I thought that would be bad. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound good if it's locking the exposure in. And then I had the mental thing that said, oh, but you're shooting in manual all the time, so your exposure's locked anyway, so take advantage of that. And so I will stay in the high plus mode in the future because 8 frames a second, the exposure's not changing because I leave it locked in.
And the competition for this camera is it's aimed directly at the A7R III, the 42 megapixel Sony camera. Now the Sony camera does 10 frames a second on paper, but I believe that's also I think like 12-bit compressed if you're doing the full 10. You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm just shifting my chair because.
And then I think it does 8 frames a second if you're doing 14-bit uncompressed.
It's stuff that they lie. They hide.
Well,
the fact.
they give you the fine print at the bottom and asterisk and
like the Z6. They say will do 12 frames a second.
Correct.
It's not going to be 12
but
frames
it's really
a second.
9.
It's like 9.
It's 9 if you do the 14-bit uncompressed. If 12-bit compressed is 12.
I mean, if you want to shoot RAW and be 12 frames, fine. I mean, so JPEG. Then
and a lot of
that's
people
what
are fine shooting 12-bit compressed RAW. I mean, a lot of people will just deal with it and there's no issue.
Yeah.
But I still get weird about that.
So let's wrap up that discussion. That's the Z discussion. There's a lot there. You guys can, of course, leave some comments down below with what you think about that stuff. I was going to talk about Canon because now the last one to the party is Canon.
Yeah.
We're waiting. We haven't heard anything
Nothing
anything
on the rumor mill
about this.
Yeah.
So what are they working on? What will they come out with? We don't know. It will be interesting to see if and when it does happen. But they've probably taken the silent route compared to what Nikon did by rolling out all of these.
I don't know
things.
if that's the good way to go. I feel like the way Nikon did it is the right way. Get some buzz going on,
and keep it up. So as soon as Canon does something, because Photokina's coming up, we will report whatever we see when whatever happens.
They have to have something. I'm sure there's something.
I feel like it's one of those things. If you don't say anything, then people start thinking about selling all their lenses, all their gear.
That it's a witch
But if
hunt.
I hear,
it gives them an out.
If I think, it's going to be a 5D Mark M or some variation, I'm like, all right, I'm going to hold on to my Canon stuff. I'm not going to jump ship yet.
Well, for you, even you're a 5D. You have a 5D Mark IV. You don't need that mirror because you don't really shoot stills. That's not your thing.
Todd's shooting mirror up every time he's doing video, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yep.
Would
Mirror
you switch,
up.
Todd? Would you go mirrorless if you had to? I mean, I guess it doesn't really affect
I mean,
you.
I like the M50. I think that if they had a 5D that was a mirrorless,
Because I
why not?
assume that's what they're going for. Because like Nikon used their D850 and went mirrorless pretty much with that, and I think the 5D will be their mirrorless version.
I mean, if they want to jump into the game and really, that was the camera that revolutionized. Well, the 20D did. But
I just hope they beef it up, man. I mean, Nikon, I feel like they really did give it mainly their all, minus a couple hiccups, but I think they did a great job. But Canon's got to do a lot to come back.
All right. So we should wrap this up.
Yeah,
I think I talked about everything.
Again, we'll have, what are we calling it? Extra overtime.
Frovertime.
Frovertime.
Frovertime's coming up for anybody.
Save those questions about mirrorless stuff or whatever, because again, we had a hands-on. So
yeah, so we're gonna wrap up the show here, and then you're gonna stay right here, and then we're gonna clap our hands or something, and we'll be into Frovertime. And Frovertime is only available as in the video portion. So if you're listening to the audio, we're gonna pull out our laptops. We're gonna talk to you guys for about 15 minutes, and then we will call it a day. But Todd, anything you want to add before we go?
No, I think that's about it.
Where can they find you to play Fortnite?
I don't play Fortnite. I still play Destiny, I guess. But you can find me on my my social medias, on the YouTubes, and on PlayStation if you want.
Todd Wolf.
Just iTodd.
Oh,
ITOD.
on PlayStation.
Dan doesn't have a camera. He said it died, so we can't talk to him.
I swore I gave him a charged battery, but I guess not. Anyway, you can find me at S_Eckert pretty much across all social medias.
How's your website doing?
It's doing great.
Yeah, I bet.
6 years in the making, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting
I wondered
there.
if it's still comped because I got you a comp a long time
I
ago.
actually I have a template set up in the background, and I haven't signed in like 3 or 4 years. So I don't know.
All
I
right.
don't need one right now.
You think you'll get a haircut next week? Steven?
I'll probably get a haircut when I make a website. So no, I will probably make a. I'll probably get a haircut next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you need special time off for that?
I mean,
Are you
it
gonna-
might take like a
need
good
a week
4 hours
get
to
that
cut,
off.
man.
Are
I
you
got
gonna
a
go
lot
with
of
the
locks of love
spikes?
here, bro. I
going
got rid of the
spiky?
spikes. No, I'm gonna go probably back to the other look that I had.
Oh, I
going
know
on.
what that other look is.
We're live, so
The undercut.
you know what I
The
mean. Yeah,
undercutter.
That was tasteless, Stephen.
That is-
Anyway, let's
All
wrap
right.
this up. Get ready to stay up here for Frovertime.
Stay up.
This has been RAWtalk episode number 248. All things Nikon, all things mirrorless versus the Sony. The one thing we didn't say is if you're a Nikon shooter, I don't think now's time to jump ship. The one thing that Nikon has to have a concern about is winning the game for the future of the people coming up after the fact. the people that don't own anything now, a lot of times turn to Sony.
I agree.
So,
And I don't blame them.
that's going to be RAWtalk episode number 248. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. See ya on Frovertime. Can we all clap at once to get to Frovertime?
All right, YouTubers.
3,
We're still live, so
2,
keep watching.
1. Frovertime. Let's grab our stuff. And let's talk.
So I hope we are live, right, Todd? Hopefully we're still.
yeah, we've
still
been live
going.
the whole time.
We got Super Chat.
I mean, I haven't really been watching that.
Oh, right. Because we didn't want Todd watching that.
Right, where
but
we
yeah,
at
if you
here?
guys want to do any of those Super Chatty McChattersons right now, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just logging in to the chat to see what's going on. Oh, look, I'm watching an ad.
Mute that too.
Yeah.
No money.
Okay. Oh, God, this thing moves so fast. I'm going to go in on the back end.
Pop
That's what
out
she said.
chat.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So,
That's
Todd,
what
if you see
I'm
anything,
doing.
call it out. If I see something, I'll call it out.
Copy that.
Let's see here.
Or maybe just nobody cares and for overtime. Did you guys enjoy the first one back?
Did you test video autofocus with the Nikon old lenses or third-party lenses? That's the best feature that you missed overall. You talked about everything no one did. Great preview.
Are you telling me there's 1,604 people watching?
Is there really? Anyway, back to this.
Yeah, but that's we've
Okay,
never.
never mind.
I wonder how high that was.
Oh, yeah.
So they're asking if we tested the video autofocus with third-party lenses. No, I did not. I literally had the camera for about 10 minutes. We only had one camera between the two of us. Obviously, Jared gets it, so because I had to shoot video of him. So he used that for about 2 hours, and I had about 20-ish minutes with it, but that other 10 minutes was filming you. So I only used their 35-1.8 on it, and it seemed fine. Third party, that's a good question. Or F-mount adapted lenses, will it focus just as well? Good question.
I
We'll
think
have to
it's-
try that in the
yeah.
real-world review.
I saw somebody who said it's their first time watching live. So Thomas Ferrari, thank you for watching live.
Oh, actually, if you guys can, this one guy, Steven Souza, he put Frovertime question in all caps. If you want to do that, if you have a specific question, just so we can get to them quicker. Do you guys think the battery life on the Z6, Z7 will outperform what Nikon said? So is Nikon saying 300 shots? Because I've seen that.
Yeah,
But I haven't heard from Nikon.
Look, I used it, and I took about 500 pictures. We did about 20-ish minutes of video, and it said 44% on the battery.
Yeah,
So-
we actually had no issue. We shot for about 3 hours. Like you said, 20 minutes of video, and it was fine.
I've got this. Will the photos you asked us to send for RAWtalk, I don't know if it means RAWtalk, still be used? If you're talking about for photo the raw edits of the week, then yeah, at some point I'll be doing that. I got a couple thousand of them in.
If Todd should choose Z7 or Z6 for video, and if Steven were selecting one, I would personally use the Z6. That's got the full frame, 1:1, full pixel readout, 24 megapixel. It's basically their A7 III. I would definitely choose that one, and it's also a little higher ISO.
Somebody asked if I will be reviewing more Fuji stuff. No, I mean, there's a bunch of babies that own Fuji, so probably not. I don't feel like listening to them bitch about their shit being the greatest stuff in the world when it's fine, it's good, but it's like, get over yourself.
Marcus Clemens, great comment. Thank you for that. He said, I effing love RAWtalk.
Oh, hey.
Caught it live, yes.
I have a Sony A7 III. Do you think the Nikon battery is better? We can't really tell that yet. Plus, it was a pre-production model, so it's really hard to say.
Yeah.
And as far as what camera I would choose the one that Steven tells me to.
Yeah, Todd, you haven't really played with the A7 III, right? Or
Not
any of
that
the Sony
much.
cameras?
I mean, it looks great. I mean, from what I saw when you came back from that one trip with was that the Dune
It was the
buggies and
A7
all
III
that?
trip, I think, yeah.
I mean, that stuff, the 120 looked
the 120 looks
incredible.
great. The 120 to 4K, all of that.
Amazing, yeah.
Now, I will say real quick, the one thing I don't like about Nikon is that they're not doing the 6K to 4K down sampling like Sony does. So the sharpness in the Sony is incredible in their full frame 4K. I think Nikon will not be as sharp because it's simply just a 4K image.
Question here, am I coming to Photokina? And the answer is no. Pretty much everything that's going to happen is happening beforehand, and it was just super expensive to buy flights. Like, it was $2,600 for round trip, and that's asinine
It's
to
an
spend
insane
for
amount of
regular
money.
stuff. Video autofocus, same, better, or worse than Canon/Sony. I think we've pretty much hit that a little bit. I think Canon is still the best with dual pixel AF. Sony's very good, and I think Nikon is finally not shitty.
Yeah, it's really hard to, again, say about Nikon just yet because it was a pre-production model, and we literally only tested it out for a few. Actually, Corey Rich was helping us out figuring out the focus modes, and
Todd,
it's still a mess.
this Chris Boyd question.
Oh, how's the movie coming? Good. I mean, we cast the 2 leads. I mean, all you gotta do is look on IMDb, so I guess I can talk about it. Henry Zabrowski is the lead character. He works at the porn shop, and he's in Crashing on HBO. He's on this podcast, last podcast on the left, which is pretty huge as well. And he's got a show on Comedy Central. And then the girl from Florida Project, Bria Venente, signed on to be the lead as well.
Oh, that's great.
But
I still have to watch that.
We're out. We're casting. We're out to somebody right now that's pretty big, and we're waiting to hear back. But it's chicken and the egg. You gotta have the cast together before they're like, okay, here's your money.
Yeah.
So they're like, we have your money. Make sure you got the cast. It's mind numbing.
Somebody says we had as high as 1,900 viewers on it once.
Wow.
That's
That
pretty
might be
good.
our highest ever RAWtalk.
I kind of promoted. I sent out an email
Oh, we should, yeah.
and stuff.
Someone said, did Nikon mention
You
grips
did
for
send
the
out
new
an email?
Oh yeah, an
New
email
cameras.
went out this morning, but I also promoted it a couple days ago. I did a Nikon teaser type thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just like RAWtalk Friday, 2 p.m.
So a couple questions about the grip. Yes, there is a grip, and just like Sony, since the bodies are exactly the same, you can use the grip on both cameras. It was a development announcement. No price or anything announced yet, and it will simply just take 2 batteries, but it will do USB-C charging.
Todd, Robert Daniels, you want to answer his question? Says pawn or porn shop.
Oh, it's a porn shop. I mean, it's an adult video store.
It's actually downstairs at the Fro Factory right now.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Do you miss Ken Rockwell?
I do miss Ken Rockwell.
He's such a nice guy.
He is so funny.
Love him.
Any super chats this week? I haven't
Sick
seen any
beard,
super
Steven. Hang in there. It'll grow eventually.
I'll just say for anybody tuning in just now, this is Frovertime, as Todd has called it. This is
Frovertime.
This is after RAWtalk is over, and it's only available to you guys here watching the live stream. It won't be on the audio.
Someone asked about high ISO on the Z7. We really, what'd you push it at? 4,000?
I was probably at 4,000 at one point, but I need to go. But
It's not
again,
really pushing it, but
but it's not realistic because I'm not going to use a 24 to 70 f4.
well, so I will say it was hard to push it too in that environment because all of the models they had set up, all the sets they had were perfectly lit and bright.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to try and shoot low light.
Mirrorless or DSLR? Which one to buy? This is the ultimate conundrum right now too. I don't know how you're going to
New
invest
video
in a
coming
DSLR.
soon. Ultimate debate.
Yeah.
Mirrorless versus DSLR.
Yeah, that is
Which to
actually
choose,
that is
question
actually
mark.
coming. Can you have my Nikon when you pry it from my cold dead hands? Do you think the Z lineup will have a grip with extra card slots? It will have a grip, but there's no way in hell it's going to have an extra card slot. That's the one thing I was like, maybe they'll put it there, but I mean, I don't know if that's even possible.
Can Nikon fix many issues with firmware before release? I think they can fix a lot of software-based issues like autofocus tracking and menu issues and stuff like that. Maybe that lag time between switching between EVF and the menu or the live view.
Salt and Lime Photography sent us $2.79 in Canadian from Nova Scotia. Thank you for doing that. Can I show you something that I picked up yesterday, Steven?
Oh, I saw this on your...
So I saw the new people from Canadian Store TV, the TV Camera Stores TV.
Yeah,
And I saw her pull this out of her pocket,
that's great.
and was like, "How do I get one of those, eh?" And they don't know. Anyway, they gave it to me.
Because we have the American flag one.
We do.
The America one, yeah. Think Tank gave us a couple of America ones.
Do we use that?
Dan might. Dan, do you? I think Dan uses one. But yep. How dare you hold
Hey,
that
our
Canadian
switcher,
flag?
our switch. Oh God, his chair's rolling.
Oh, and the chair, it's gonna hit my camera.
Oh, it really is.
Oh,
That
you
rolled like halfway across
son
the
of a
room.
bitch.
Here we go. See?
What are you doing, buddy? I'm not your buddy, pal.
YouTube thumbnail.
Anyway, I wanted to. She gave me the Canadian.
They
one.
must just make every flag.
I don't have an Israeli one.
Somebody asked why I was so tame today because I was out partying last night.
We've got.
Well, it was hard. I feel like it was hard for you to chime in because only Jared and I were at the event, and use the cameras and.
Well, and
what the entire podcast was
last
about.
night was the last show for my improv group, Sardines. I haven't really.
Oh, that
performed
too.
with
Oh,
it
you're
for a
back
while.
in the you're back in the
Well,
sardines.
it was the last show, so I went and
you
went
got
out,
drunk.
and but it wasn't that many, but I feel a little messy today.
Did you have gluten?
That's the question of the day.
Was
That's
Gluten
the
Charlie
translation.
there?
No. Yeah, man.
Yosusi Brasino, $4.99. Thank you. It says, I'm currently on Canon 80D looking to upgrade soon. Do I wait for a Canon mirrorless or get a Sony A7 or Nikon Z6? It all depends on glass that you have, and at this point, I would wait a little bit longer, and then
Yeah.
you can make a true a decision at that point.
Someone asked about N-Log in the camera. Does it record internally? That's their new version of C-Log, basically. It only does external recording, I believe, and it does 10-bit 422 to an external drive, which is really nice, but I don't believe N-Log records internally.
Photo Me says, here's $5 for having the best Nikon mirrorless preview of all the channels. Plus, I might borrow some footage when I make my videos about it. So, yeah, thank you.
You do your job and get a haircut. I'll do mine, Steven.
I just want to let people know, though, how, crazy of a day it was yesterday, where we had the keynote in the morning, then we shot for 2.5 hours. We both ran around shooting. I filmed, Jared shot, and then I had to run back to the hotel room and edit for 6 hours and try and do it
And
before
then
the
make
train.
sure you have RAWtalk ready, Steven.
And have RAWtalk ready for today. Yeah,
And it
it's
wasn't like I was upstairs at the Nikon party on the 17th
schmoozing
floor.
away, getting paid with yellow jackets.
Oh, man, did I get paid last night up there.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah, I forget her name.
Let's see.
Well, here's some good ones. Frovertime question: is it worth the investment into the system right away? I have no
Good question.
problem. I have no problem investing right away in this.
Early adopter?
One, it doesn't hurt that they're going to give me a long-term usage one
Lots
to
of
test
money?
to play out.
Oh, I mean,
well,
yeah.
I don't get to keep it. We return it, but that's the difference. It's like when you so here's the thing. Here's something. Whenever you watch these videos, these promo videos of these Nikon ambassadors that use it, of course they're going to say everything that's positive. Like, you got to take that shit with a grain of salt, and we're actually out here using it. That's why I won't be a Nikon ambassador, because one, I say negative things, and two, I don't want to be, because we are not associated and in bed with any of these companies.
Yeah.
And this is how you can say whatever you want to say, and they're not going to tell us, no, you can't touch our cameras anymore because you say negative things, because we find the positives that make sense. Like
Pros and cons.
what was that camera? The 6D Mark II that we liked?
We
I
were
mean,
like
we
the
didn't
only
like it.
positive review.
We didn't
Somewhat
like it.
positive review.
But I called it one of the best vlogging cameras right off the rip the day that I used it. And I vlogged with that until the M50 came out, because it was too
full-frame
damn
vlogging
heavy.
camera, yeah. Focus magnification in manual mode are just peaking for the Z7. I believe you can still punch in manual mode, but I don't think you can do it while you're recording. So that's a little unfortunate.
Can I make this bigger? Because I'm blind.
This is very small text.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
There's so many questions.
Thank you for £5 from 9. Oh, he just said 9. Todd.
9.
There you go.
Will RAWtalk come back on a regular basis, or is this just a special one-off episode? I think it will.
The plans are for Fridays while we're here.
We're here, yes.
We'll be out. We've got some busy stuff coming up, and we'll let you know beforehand when that's happening.
Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Will Von Heater just said, how much did I miss? Everything. This is Frovertime.
I mean, we were naked at one point. I mean, we had,
It was crazy.
it was
Crazy
wild.
time.
Oh, here. Although
Wild.
Todd Owen Young is a great, I met Todd Owen Young. It's the first time I ever met him.
Why didn't you finish that comment?
Because it's not a positive comment, and I don't agree with it. So I met Todd for the first time. I've followed his stuff since before Frono's Photo, and that was the first time that we met him.
Yeah, I didn't really get to say hi at all. Just because I was running around with my head cut off trying to film.
You were busy.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get to try. I didn't have a Tamron lens to take. I do need one of those.
Yeah, the Sigma was an afterthought. I mean, it was a very last-minute thing, so we're lucky that we even got that.
I'm a theme park photographer, but I need a new camera. What is the best all-around? I don't know where it went. Best all-around for theme parks. I can't believe you have to buy your own camera.
Maybe he does. Maybe it's a website. Like, there's people that go to the theme parks and shoot like the new stuff being built. I don't think he works at a theme park.
Oh, I took it as I think he works at a theme park.
Someone said, when will you be getting in the new Mavic drones to review? I don't know if we will.
I'm going to send them a message and see if they'll send us one.
Yeah.
They didn't send us the Mavic Air, but maybe
Drones
they'll
have
send
never
us
been a
this.
huge thing for our channel, so I don't know.
No, because
it's just not worth the effort to make a review.
And you
for
guys
something
never
like
got the thingamabob either. The
Mavic
Ronin,
Air?
The Ronin.
what you got
The
it.
Ronin S. I mean,
Oh, the Ronin S, yeah.
It just came the other day.
We have to play
I
with-
haven't even opened the box yet.
Oh, really? We have to do. You should do an unboxing. On
I
the
will.
Todd
I just
Wolf
haven't had.
YouTube
It's
channel.
sitting there. Look, it's mocking me, but I
Yeah.
just haven't had a chance.
Because I really haven't played. So when I shoot Jared, he's so crazy, runs around like a maniac that I can't really use a gimbal. I just feel like my movement is much better and faster.
I
to
think
run
that would
around
be a
and chase
good
him.
thing as a like a second camera.
Well, and as a walk and talk, I think it's really great.
Yeah.
But for what we do here, I don't think it'll work very well. Although I still have to try
I mean,
out
you
gimbals.
got to
so-
look at those things like a crane or
Exactly.
or any of those
Specialty
other things.
tools in the
It's
bag
like,
just
okay,
in
I'm going to
case.
get this shot.
So somebody asked, would I buy one of the two, the Z6 or the Z7?
Yeah. What would you get?
It's a tough choice because I want lower light capability, but there's also more focusing points on the Z7.
Or will they have like a Z9,
Well,
which is going to be their D5?
I want the D5 version, of course. If I had to choose, it's hard to say because if it's similar to what Sony did, I would take an A7 III over an A7 R3, personally, for the better low light capability.
Yeah.
So I think we should wrap up for overtime.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could get to every question, obviously, but there's so many questions.
There are a lot of questions here, but
again-
are we here next week?
Yeah, next week, I think we are definitely here. The week after, we might not be.
Right, we may not be here the week after
But we're
that.
trying to get this back on a regular once-a-week thing, so.
And yeah, so we'll continue to do for overtime. I really appreciate you guys staying here and listening to this and joining us. Keep tuning in on Fridays. 2 p.m. looks to be the time for now. And Todd's playing for overtime music.
I wonder if the time is better now, being 2 p.m. Is that why there's so many people, or
They
is it
just
a
missed
mixture
your
of?
face.
Well, definitely, obviously.
They couldn't wait to see your hair.
Yeah, that's a given.
All right. Is that it?
I think so.
All right, Dan. For overtime out. Cut the show. Break the gate in 3 and 2 and 1.